When we think of history, we think of wars, monarchs, ancient civilizations, and their downfall. But history can also be found in more ordinary things in life, from the food we eat to the pets we own, even the sports teams we so ardently love watching. Each sports club and their own identity, stadium and fans are all united under a distinct palette of colours. But why do certain clubs wear blue, while others bear bold red, white, or even yellow? Join us as we explore the biggest league of the biggest sport on earth, finding out how each and every current Premier League team got their iconic kit colours. Everton's royal blue shirt may look simple today, but the history of their shirt is anything but. When Everton changed their name from St. Domingo's FC in 1879, football players usually provided their own shirts, mostly from their previous club. To standardise the colours, Everton dyed the kits black, but with a scarlet sash in the middle as the kit was too morbid. This kit didn't last long, however, with the Toffees experimenting with pink, red, salmon red, and sky blue, before introducing royal blue in 1901. But why did they stop here? Well, Everton switched back to sky blue in 1906, but the fans protested on the streets, leading to the Merseyside club reverting back to royal blue. They've only changed colours once since, a sky blue shirt in 1931. And as for why royal blue was picked in the first place, that's an answer that not even Everton FC can provide themselves. Leeds United are one of the younger teams in the Premier League, forming from the ashes of Leeds City FC in 1919. The club was immediately bought by J. Hilton Crowther, who formerly owned bitter rivals Huddersfield Town FC. Their blue and white striped kits were thus adopted in 1920. In 1934, United changed their colours to blue and old gold, similar to the colour of their past club Leeds City. Although not explicitly stated, blue and gold may have been chosen as they were the same dominant colours on Leeds' coat of arms. But blue and gold are now secondary colours. Leeds' all-white strip didn't come about till 1961, where player-manager Don Revie sought to transform the club into the Real Madrid of Yorkshire, copying their colours in the process. The most successful period in history followed, with the Peacocks becoming English champions thrice and challenging in Europe, albeit nowhere near as glorious as that of Madrid's. Leicester City, originally Leicester Foss, were a nomadic amateur club who wore blue in their first kit in 1884, but only as a secondary colour to black. 2 years later they started wearing chocolate brown and Cambridge blue shirts. In 1888, when searching for a new ground, they were outbid for a place at Belgrave Road by the much more established Leicester Tigers Rugby Club, barring Foss to nomadic life for 3 more years. Leicester City themselves state that perhaps in a move to step out of the shadow of Tigers, colours distinguishable from the rugby team's dark green and red were experimented with in the 1890s, with royal blue and white eventually being settled upon. The most notable change to blue was the stint in all-white in the 1972-73 season. Funnily enough, it was for the same reason as both Leeds and Crystal Palace, to replicate Real Madrid. But unlike the other two, the fans immediately protested, and the Foxes were back in blue the following season. Anfield was originally the home ground of Liverpool's crosstown rivals Everton, but following a 150% rise in rent in 1892, Everton left, and Anfield owner John Holding founded Liverpool FC, adopting Everton's sky blue and white halves. But it isn't too wise to wear the same colours as your rivals, and Holding thought so too, as he took Liverpool's municipal colour of red to identify the new club in 1896. But the Reds wore white shorts until 1964. Red shorts were first introduced before their 1964-65 European Cup tie against Anderlecht, where legendary manager Bill Shankly proposed the idea, as red would instill ideas of danger and power within the Belgian side. Needless to say, It worked, as they not only won that game, but also the FA Cup final that season in all red. In fact, Liverpool have won 13 domestic and 6 continental titles in their domineering red. There probably isn't a more iconic sports team than Manchester City that plays in sky blue. But just like the Manchester sky, the story behind the iconic colour is somewhat hazy. Sky blue was first adopted in 1887 as part of a half sky blue, half dark shirt, a nod to the colours of Freemasonry in the 19th century, as the club held ties with local Masons. However, contrasting sources state that this legend has been corrupted, and Freemasonry was tied to the club's previous kit, where leading Mason William Beestow introduced a black shirt with a white Maltese cross, said to hold ties to the branch he was associated with. In fact, some even go on to claim that a dolly blue pigment used when washing City's original white kits led to the blue-tinted kit, although this story may not be valid as the colour of City's white shorts would have also changed. Man United may be the most successful team in English football history, but United, known as Newton Heath at the time, needed to use a blue sash on a white shirt in 1878 to distinguish themselves from the sea of white-wearing mediocre teams. In 1881, Newton Heath adopted green and gold, the colours of the railway company of the same name, and these original colours can be seen in fan protests today. By the turn of the century, the club was in deep financial trouble, and during a fundraising campaign, a dog belonging to the club escaped, but was saved by local brewer John Henry Davies. Davies decided to invest in the club, eventually earning a place on the board and changing the club's name to Manchester United in 1902. The kits, therefore, also underwent a massive change, with red shirts, white shorts, and black socks becoming official. There have been 2 changes since then. In 1920, a white kit with a red V was experimented with, to channel United's previous success, as it was worn as an away shirt for a kit clash against Bristol City in the 1909 FA Cup final. Maroon and white hoops were used in the 1934-35 seasons for good luck, but both kits ultimately failed to do the trick. Newcastle United, given its name, was once 2 separate clubs in the 1880s, both wearing different colours. Newcastle West End was identified by red and black stripes, while East End shifted from navy blue to red tops. By the 90s, the city couldn't support both clubs. The West End had poor results, while the East End lacked pitch amenities, hence they merged to form Newcastle United, but kept East End's red colours. In a game against Nottingham Forest in 1892, a kit clash forced Newcastle to borrow Forest's rivals, Notts County's black and white striped kit. This became the home kit in 1894, as a neutral colour to satisfy both the East and West End clubs. In recent years, blue highlights have been observable on the Magpies' kits, which comes from the blue on their crest. Blue was said to have replaced certain shades of white and red. These colours were avoided as much as possible, as it was symbolic of noisy neighbours Sunderland AFC. And that concludes part 2 of how every Premier League team ended up wearing their kit colours. Thanks for watching, and join us for part 3 as we move on to look at some of the most uniquely coloured teams in the league, from Norwich's yellow and green to Wolverhampton's orange.